Well, hi, welcome.
Mhm.
We'll start out like it's the first day of school. Can you introduce yourself, your name, your pronouns, what character you're playing, stuff like
Sure.
that?
So my name is Micah Myers. Pronouns are he, him, his. I'm playing the role of Justin for this production of Oliver and Isaac.
Nice. So, what was intriguing you about becoming involved in Oliver and Isaac?
Sure. So I think the first thing that caught my attention is I noticed there's been like a very recent change in backstage and what they're providing for actors. And I feel like a lot of the criteria is changing. And so one thing that really caught my attention is like the plot breakdown and the description and the character breakdown and things like that. It allowed me to, as cliche as it is, it allowed me to like see myself in a production that was just without the bells and whistles or without the extras, just two guys that are working through their sexuality. And it's important for people like myself who are part of the LGBT community who didn't have that. So I saw a lot of
Yeah,
artists doing that. I saw some importance in that. And I was like, I would love to be a part in a production like that.
nice. Yeah. How did you first hear about Queer Colors Theater?
Through backstage once I
Just backstage? Nice.
yeah, yep.
Oh, cool. Okay. Oh, we love stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, awesome. So, in 3 words, can you describe the show?
Um, let's see. I would say eye-opening,
Hmm.
um, progressive, and personal.
Ooh, I like the
Yeah.
last one a lot. Yeah. I also feel like I'm bi and I don't see a lot of my representation on stage either. So, when I do find a show that is personal in a way, I feel good. I'm like, oh,
Even though I'm not per se a Justin in this production, like sure that's my role, that's my character. I'm not a Justin, but I've had a moment of being Justin. I've had
yeah,
moments of seeing myself in different characters. And so even though this is the role I'm portraying, I still see a lot of myself in Isaac and Oliver. And I think that's important that there's almost like you can see parts of yourself throughout the entire play in every single character.
that's
So
really
it's really
important.
cool.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to be involved in a production like that.
Right.
Speaking of Justin, now we're gonna do the same thing. I feel like I'm like an elementary school teacher. Can you describe Justin in 3 words?
Sure. Justin is experienced. He is upfront, kind of
Ooh.
like he knows what he wants.
Hmm.
And I would say he's got a bit of an edge.
Oh, okay.
And maybe jaded or edge would be the 2 words I would kind of go between.
Yeah. So kind of not similar to you, as you were saying, but you are finding ways to like sort of
Yeah,
express yourself through him. That's great. Uh,
exactly. Yeah.
what's been your favorite scene? If try for like no spoilers, but like sort of a general overview. What's your favorite scene to work on?
Sure. So I'm actually only in one scene specifically. But I really like the scene in general that I am in, mostly because it serves a purpose to the plot and how it projects forward and tells the story of Isaac and Oliver and what their relationship is. But I think there's some importance in that because it's so prominent in the gay community today, and like, especially in bigger cities like New York City and LA and things like that. It kind of it has I feel like it has all of that importance that allows for us to see the growth in the other main characters.
Nice. A good catalyst character.
Yeah,
Awesome. So I guess talking about that one scene, what
yeah,
was your process looking like in the beginning of rehearsals, and then how did that kind of progress to where you are now since the
sure.
show is about to complete?
So as I said, I was trying to like find pieces of myself in this character. And I think, as I said, I've had moments of being Justin. And so when I read the script, I kind of saw those moments almost immediately. So I was like, okay, so let's revisit what I was like in those moments. Let's revisit how I was as Micah and how I could bring that to Justin. And so that was interesting. I think it was most interesting because that's how I perceived it. And not to say that I was right, but I think whenever I did the first run through, it was like, yep, that's exactly what I pictured. And I was just like, okay, so I know that what he's experiencing, I've had moments of that. So that's kind of, that's kind of how the process has been so far. It's just been able to really, unfortunately, but fortunately, revisit a past version of myself.
Always important, I feel like, to sort of like reflect on the past. And that's the cool thing about theater is like you can bring it to what you're working on the stage and sort of, I don't know if that's like work through issues, reflect through what it was in the past, but that's what I really enjoy about it. Let me see my next question.
Sure.
So it's been a tough year, or tough few years, I feel like, if we want to go back quite a few years. So in your opinion, what is the state of the LGBTQ plus community right now in the US? I know, the sigh, I'm there with you.
It's tough. It's weird. I feel like there are different perspectives to look at it. I think from the outside in, somebody who doesn't have knowledge of the LGBT community, you would say that there's a lot of progression. I think a lot of people would say that there are some things that are happening that are, beneficial for the community. But I think without being a part of it and without being an ally, you can't really see the work that is being done. So while there is some stuff that's being done for the LGBT community, there is not enough still. We still have a lot of places to go. We still have a lot of things that need to be mandated to protect people under our community and really advocate and things like that. So I think in that regard, I think there's still a lot of room to grow, which then trickles into things like social acceptance and acceptance in a professional environment and medical acceptance and all kinds of things like that. So I think whenever it comes down to like trickle into those little individual things, we still have a lot of work to do. But I think as a whole, there's still like, there's a lot more beauty coming from it as opposed to just something that just exists. I think a lot of people are finding a lot of the positivity that comes with being part of the community and the progression that we are finding in the days now.
Yeah. You did mention allyship. So if you had like a few words to say to, I don't know, how someone could be a good ally to the community, what would that be?
I would say from the perspective of allyship, just know that if you happen to be somebody who has a friend or a family member or something that comes out to you, and being that ally for them, it's just as a reminder, an ally's role is to be there to listen, especially if you're one of the first person that they come to disclose this. Like, this is probably a very important thing in that person's life. And even if it's not a big deal to you, or it is a huge deal to you, just know that it's probably a bigger deal to the person that they're experiencing. So put them first, be empathetic to them first and what they need, and then put your own stuff aside, and then you can revisit that appropriately, is how I would say that.
Perfect answer. I love it. And I'm going to go to my final question. Sure. What does queer theater mean to you?
Representation.
Ooh.
I think it's representation. It's that's all it is. It's basically bringing productions and life stories and experiences to life that cis hetero white men and women have taken our entire lives. Like, not to discredit, we needed some type of representation, but now it's truth. It's honesty. It's what we've, it's like, there's no like folded, cloth over people's eyes. We're seeing what's actually happening. It's real for the first time. So I think that's what it kind of means to me.
Excellent. Yeah. Our own stories on stage.
Exactly.
Wouldn't it be nice? No, I mean, it's happening, which is the good part.
We're getting there. A lot of stuff is on backstage that's like very pro community. Like it's like there's a lot on there.
That's awesome. I'm glad that so this is a side note. I was living in China for like a year and a half. And so when I left to go do my job and do school there, and then when I came back, the difference is just like astronomical, especially like coming from China where the LGBTQ community is a lot less present just because they have to be compared to here. So I just have found that cool, and that's been very helpful for me. So I'm glad to hear that on like platforms like Backstage, people are pushing to make this art more.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't necessarily the case when I was an undergrad.
Yeah, there's a lot more fluidity in there. I think they're finding that people are just people who happen to be on a spectrum of femininity or masculinity, and it doesn't matter. I think they're just realizing that people are people, and that's it. The androgyny
Yeah.
is like actually becoming a thing, and yeah, I don't even think it's a trend anymore. I think it's legitimately a thing. So
I
yeah,
like that it's a thing.
yeah, exactly. It's like it's real for the first time.
Makes me feel good.
Right.
Do you have anything else you want to add about Oliver and Isaac, about Queer Colors Theater, about
No, I don't think
you?
so. No,
Okay.
I'm just excited to be a part of the production. So I'm ready to see it all come together and see what happens. So yeah.
Yeah, me too.